My work history at Monsanto, I graduated as a mechanical engineer from the University of Texas long before any of you were born, probably before your parents were married. I graduated in '64. I went to work at Monsanto, company in Texas City, Texas, which is down on the Gulf Coast. And after about 5 years working in the plant, I wanted that person's job that made me work at nights and on the weekend. And pretty soon I figured out it wasn't the plant manager. The plant manager was a member of the Chamber of Commerce, all the different organizations in town, the Lions Club. He was the face of the company. I found out that marketing was kind of what drove the company, so I worked around and I got a job in marketing, which led to a very interesting career. I was in charge of a line of products. My sales were $1.5 million a day, 365 days a year. So big volume moving out in barges daily. And in that job, I got the opportunity to be what we call the Director of Results Management. And there were 4 of these people in Monsanto. And what we did was the company president would say, here's what we want to do. We want to make this return on investment. Now, everybody writes your goals and objectives according to that. And it became my job and the other 3 people's job to look at everybody's goals and objectives to make sure that we all pointed in the same direction. And that was amazing. They would point all over the world. So we'd have to get them all, everybody marching in the same direction. And after doing that job a couple of years, and I did not like personnel work. It was not a lot of fun. And you had to look at people's performance reviews, and it was amazing. Some people would say, this person did an outstanding job, he did everything correctly, and then on the bottom, should be considered for termination. So you'd have to make sure that the written words matched how they were rated, and that's really tough for people to do because they could give all sorts of platitudes, but then when the end would come down, they would rate them somewhat differently. Well, after that job, I got a job in government relations in crude oil, and I worked in Washington, not as a lobbyist, but as a learned expert. And I was in charge of an organization called the Petrochemical Energy Group, 19 chemical companies. And we tried to keep the federal government out of our business, but give them enough information so that they would not make dumb laws. You know, just because you're an attorney doesn't mean that you know everything about everything. And so I spent a lot of time testifying to the House and the Senate Energy Committees and to the Department of Energy, and which was a very interesting job, very scary at times. We did war games at the Exxon building in New York City, playing with what happens if the Straits of Hormuz are closed off, what happens to the world economy. And that's why we have warships over there, why we went to war in Iraq. That's not really, I don't think the government has really told exactly why, but that is really why, because we just can't keep the way that we have been living without that oil over there. Now it's gotten a little bit better now that we've been fracking in the U.S., and so we're not so dependent upon that. But if the Straits of Hormuz are closed, it will put the world into a depression that pales in the 1920s and 30s. So anyway, came back from that job as director of purchasing. So I was in charge of buying all Monsanto's raw materials. Did that a couple of years. And we had what I call an overactive sales department and an underactive credit department in Romania. And credit woke up when Romania owed Monsanto $30 million with no way to pay. So Romania needed some more herbicides, so they contacted the salesman and said, we have $1 million worth of roofing nails that we will gladly give you for $1 million worth of herbicide. Well, the salesman said, great, I can make my sales budget. But then he tried to sell the roofing nails and found out they were only worth $500,000. And now Romania owes Monsanto $30.5 million, and everybody is upset. So I petitioned the international vice president. I said, there needs to be somebody in that mix that doesn't have a special axe to grind. And I want that somebody to be me. And so he said, go off and write a job description. Well, that was the first time that my personnel job, I could see some results in it. So I wrote down, person ought to be technically trained, you ought to have worked in purchasing, you have worked in the plant, have worked in government, you ought to be, if you know A points, you ought to be self-starter, self-motivator, work without supervision, all those nice things. Put the job description in the hopper and it goes around, everybody takes a look at it. And I was the only one that met all those qualifications, but I was very carefully approached. So I got to be what's called the director of countertrade. And in that job, I bought things from foreign countries, so the foreign country would have dollars to buy Monsanto products. And I traveled the world. Since then, I've been to, I think, 124 countries. We'll talk about that later. I've been shot, I've been robbed. I've had lots of experience, a lot of interesting experiences. And just to give an example of what countertrade is, people say, oh, what is that? Well, after I retired from Monsanto, I did some work for Pepsi. And at that time, Pepsi owned Kentucky Fried Chickens, they owned Pizza Hut, and Taco Bell, as well as the soft drink. Well, these were all being exported to Russia, and they were getting huge piles of Russian rubles. Well, they'd take the Russian rubles to the central bank, and the central bank would say, no, I want to save my dollars to buy critical equipment. I don't want to, buy colored sweet water and Mexican food and chicken. Tough luck, keep your rubles. Well, the Pepsi employees didn't want to be paid with rubles back here in the U.S. So we looked around and I found a vodka that the Russians thought was junk. They didn't like to drink. The fill levels, if you line the bottles up on the shelf, kind of look like this. And we kind of equate quality, the fill levels need to be the same level. The labels were stuck on and glued on and crooked. So we bought all that vodka with our rubles, brought the vodka to the U.S., rebottled it, advertised it as a vodka of choice of Russians, and that's what Stolinaya vodka is. So I did things like that, which made a lot of silk purses out of Salisbury. I did a lot of work with Catholic Charities. They give a lot of money to the Caribbean islands. So like in Jamaica, we would sell herbicides or Monsanto products in Jamaica for Jamaican dollars, put the dollars, J dollars, in the bank account for Catholic Charities in Jamaica, and then Catholic Charities would give money to us in the U.S. because people would donate. So it's an aspect of international trade that most people don't even think about. You've got to have a good customer out there with credit. Then you have to help that customer many times earn the hard currency to make it work. So that was quite interesting. And Texas City was an interesting plant. If you look it up on the internet, you will find that I think the largest explosion in the U.S. happened there. In fact, it measured on the Richter scale as an earthquake. This was back in 1947, and it was a ship in the harbor that was filled with fertilizer, and it was on fire. They put the fire out. They shut the holes and dumped steam into it. And as you all know, fertilizer will blow up if you get enough pressure and heat. That's what blew up the Murr building in Oklahoma City with some propane and a lot of fertilizer. So it can become very unstable with the amount of heat and pressure. So, yeah, looking on to leadership. When I got in the countertrade business, I realized I wanted to communicate with other people that did this same job. There wasn't an organization, so I founded the American Countertrade Association. And we would meet every 6 months, and I had a board. Well, now I've got a leadership position, and how do I get them to want to work with me? They all had jobs at Eastman Kodak, Boeing, McDonnell Douglas, DuPont, companies. They all had full-time jobs. So what I did was try to make them want to participate and want to come to the board meeting. So what did we do? We rode in race cars in Charlotte, North Carolina, to build camaraderie, and boy, we could all talk about that. We did canoe trips. We did camaraderie, which then made the people want to come to our board meetings. They weren't just plain old board meetings. So that's one aspect of leadership that is very useful if you're in that position. You know, what makes a good leader? Now, leadership is the art of leading others to deliberately create a result that wouldn't have happened otherwise. We all agree with that? You got some other ideas? Okay. What is a leader and what is a manager? You get these things confused quite often. Characteristics of a good leader is self-awareness, self-direction, a vision to the future, the ability to motivate people, and social awareness. These are the characteristics of what makes a good leader. Alan Murray wrote in the Wall Street Journal that leadership and management are not the same things. A manager administers, and a leader innovates. Questions? The manager is a copy. The leader is the original. The manager focuses on systems and structure. The leader focuses on people. We have some agreement there. The manager relies on control. The leader inspires trust in people. The manager has a short-range view. The leader looks far into the future. Sees the overall problems. The manager asks how and when, and the leader asks why, how come. The manager has his eye always on the bottom line, where the leader has his eye on the horizon, looking to the future. Here's where we want to go, not what we're trying to do today. The manager accepts the status quo, and the leader challenges it. How can we improve it? What needs to be done? How can we do it differently? The manager is a classic good soldier. The leader is his own person. And last, the manager does the right thing, and the leader does the thing right. Do we have any discussion on these? I see some yeses. Do I see any no's out there? Here's an example of some great movies that have leadership roles in them. I don't know if I can click on this. Let's see. I think it's working. This is an old 1947 film with Gregory Peck in it, and it's used by lots of companies on leadership. I don't want that.
You know me, soldier? Nothing. Why are you admitting me to the station? This office is dead, Carson. Gregory could have been in it. There's my AGO card. Gentlemen, procedure. Soldier, this is a military post, not a zoo. Now I want you to check everyone in Legacy without exception. Take a good look at me.
This was a unit that had lots of losses and was really down on their what they were doing. And this was the 8th Air Force, and this is actual story of when they were bombing England. And they sent this new general in to spiffy them up. And this film is used in many, many leadership courses. result here?
So I'll get my quarters put on my bag, so. Yes, sir. Good luck, sir. Thanks, sir. How do I address you? I don't think I quite understand, General, sir. What's your rank? How am I supposed to know? Sergeant McElhaney, sir, U.S. Army Air Forces. It's Private McElhaney now. Where's the Erickson? I don't think he's on the station, sir. He left right after Lieutenant Zimmerman's funeral.
See, morale has totally folded here.
Yes, sir. Navigator, sir.
You got this guy just in his T-shirt. He doesn't have his uniform on.
Now, where's the grounding, sir? In the hospital, sir, Monks. The adjutant? And they maybe Major Stoll was at the officers' club, sir. When you get your clothes on, fine. And ask him to report to me here. Yes.
The general here sees the big picture. Everybody is sloughing off. And he's been sent here to get him back on track.
Major Stoll, sir, group adjutant. Yes, I'm with you, Major. You the only one around? Probably, sir. I presume you've come down to take over the group. That's right. You've been drinking, Major? I have. It's the first time I've been drunk in 20 years. But it may not be the last. Where's the Erickson? I don't know, sir. It's only an opinion, but I think it's possible. He may be drunk too, sir. I'll take straight answers, Major. Is he off the station? Yes, sir. Where? I don't know that, sir. Send the MPs out and find him. Bring him to me under arrest. The general mean under actual arrest? Exactly. 2, cancel all leaves and passes and make sure that all squadron commanders are back here by tonight. 3, bring me the personnel file. 66-1s on Gateway and the key staff, including yours. Yes, sir. 4, set up a meeting for all combat crews in the briefing room tomorrow morning at 0800. Is that all, sir? That's all. Yes, sir.
See, what he's doing, he's asserting his authority as the leader here.
Colonel Gately is here, sir. Some of them? Yes, sir.
The human does not like silence.
May I ask the general why I've been placed under arrest? No. Standard attention.
Any question as to who's in authority here?
You're the son of Lieutenant General Tom, aren't you? I believe that's my standard identification, sir. What do you think of him as an officer? I'm better, sir. That's right. You're the son of one fine officer and the grandson of another. You're a graduate of West Point. 9 years service. And 4 you don't even care about the part you had in breaking one of the best men you'll ever know. And two, as air exec, you were automatically in command here the moment Colonel Davenport left. And you met that responsibility exactly as you met his need. You ran out of it. You left the station to get drunk.
One of the things you need to do as a leader is to
As far
assess
as I'm concerned, you're young.
the
A traitor to yourself.
ability of the group that you're leading
The uniform you wear.
to what you have to do and how you have to treat
It'll
them.
be the easiest
And you
course
see
for me to
he's assessed that,
transfer you
and
out.
he's taking a strong
To
position.
saddle some unsuspecting guy with a deadbeat. Maybe you think that's what you're going to get out of this, a free ride in some combat unit. But I'm not going to pass the buck. I'm going to keep you right here. I hate a man like you so much that I'm going to get your head down in the mud and trample. I'm going to make you wish you'd never been born. If that's all, sir. I'm just getting started. You're going to stay right here and get a belly full of flying. You're going to make every mission. You're not air exec anymore. You're just an airplane commander. And I want you to paint this name on the nose of your ship. Leper Colony. Because in it, you're going to get every deadbeat in the outfit. Every man with a penchant for head colds. If there's a bombardier who can't get his plate with his fork, you get him. If there's a navigator who can't find the men's room, you get him because you read. Is that clear? General Savage, I have a right to file charges against you for personal abuse and exceeding your lawful authority. I have a pine tree. I want General Pritchard. Now wait. The rights gave me. You got a right to explain to General Pritchard cowardice, desertion of your post, a yellow streak a mile wide. And maybe he can explain it to your father so they'll both be proud of you. You can tell him right now. General Savage, I withdraw my statement. Never mind. That's all.
Put another short this is when he comes in to address all these men that he's going to lead. The meeting's going to start at 8 o'clock. Colonel is out there looking for him. Comes in right at 8 o'clock. Listen to his steps. Plonk, 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 plonk. See his leadership techniques there?
There'll be a briefing for a practice mission at 1100 this morning. That's right, practice. I'm sent down here to take over what has come to be known as a hard luck group. Well, I don't believe in hard luck. So we're going to find out what the trouble is. Maybe part of it's your flying, so we're going back to fundamentals. And I can tell you now one reason I think you've been having hard luck. I saw it in your faces last night. I can see it there now. You've been looking at a lot of air lately. You think you ought to have a rest. In short, you're sorry for yourselves. Now, I don't have a lot of patience with this what are we fighting for stuff. We're in a war, a shooting war. We've got to fight. And some of us have got to die. I'm not trying to tell you not to be afraid. Fear is normal. But stop worrying about it and about yourselves. Stop making plans. Forget about going home. Consider yourselves already dead. Once you accept that idea, it won't be so tough. Now, if any man here can't buy that, if he rates himself as something special, with a special kind of hide that he saved, he better make up his mind about it right now. Because I don't want him in this group. I'll be in my office in 5 minutes. You can see me there.
I'll make Colonel Pat report any day.
Me too.
Any question here as to who's the leader? And his techniques? Let's see.
Let that again.
Well, it's gonna have to play again. Oh.
You have to, there you go.
There we go. I need to go back one. Well. I'll go back one. Okay. Does anybody know who Ernest Shackleton was? He was an explorer in about 1917. They went, he was going to travel across the South Pole. And his ship got caught in the ice in the Weddell Sea. And they were stuck there for a year and a half. The ship got crushed. And they ate penguins. Penguins, I just returned from the Antarctic, and penguins are not scared of humans at all, so they could walk up to them and pop them in the head, and they would render them, and they would use the fat with like the oils and warm the tents at night. So anyway, but he had 29 men, and it's a great book on leadership because he was able to, how he worked his men, how he put troublemakers with the placid people, made them sleep together, made them all exercise every day, and in that, they then had to drag their boats across the ice. They had sled dogs with them. They had to kill the sled dogs because they couldn't afford the food for them, or didn't have the food for them. They dragged the sleds across the ice, got to the end of the ice, and sailed to Elephant Island. And then Shackleton took 5 people, and they sailed all the way to South Georgia. South Georgia is a little bitty island in the middle of the South Atlantic. But he was able to, when he got there, they had to climb over the island, slide down the glacier, then he rented a tugboat that went back and picked up his men. And this took over 2 years. But he was able, through his leadership and his skills, and how he put his people together, how he matched them, how the people respected him, everybody came out alive. So that's a great example of what leadership can do. Any questions? Okay, as I've traveled the world, I think, as I told you, I've been shot, robbed. I got shot in Rio, and I'm not sure how the Olympics are going to happen there, but it's a violent place. I got jumped by 7 guys that were beat me about the head, and they were trying to cut my finger off because my wedding ring won't come off over my knuckle, so they had some bolt cutters, and they were trying to cut my finger off like that. And just as they would get ready, I would give the maximum wiggle, and then it hit me in the head again, and one time they hit me in the head like that, and I guess my finger hit the trigger and the bullet, so I had a lot of short hair across the top of my head, and then when that happened, they ran away, but I was at Copacabana Beach, but on the hotel side, about 3 o'clock one Saturday afternoon, and there was a outdoor cafe 50 feet away. I could have thrown a rock and hit it, but nobody came to help, and I'm not sure I'd have come to help if seen somebody get beat up by 7 people, but that was one of the worst things. I would take a pickpocket over that any day. This pickpocket, that happened to you, and you don't know it's happened until after it's happened. But as I travel, I have a, if you ever sit next to me on the plane, you'll remember me. Here are the things I say. First off is my headrest here. And in it is a strap that I put around the seat. And it's got Velcro on it. And then I put a strap around my head, and I Velcro my head to the seat, so then you don't fall over. Then I have another short one that I Velcro around like this to keep my mouth shut so I don't snore. Then, guys, if you go to sleep and your legs tend to wall apart like this, but if you tie them together with your belt, it's great relaxing, because then you can relax your legs and you don't worry about who you're rubbing on next door. I mean, you have to remember though when you get up, that you got your legs tied together. So then I have a don't feed the animal. I put the blanket up, put the seatbelt around the outside so they don't wake you up, or you have your seatbelt on. And I'm sticker that says don't feed the animal. And I can sleep like that I've slept that way for as long as 8 hours. It takes 14 hours or so to fly to Oregon. So just up like that, sound asleep. But in my travels, there's several things I take. This is my little toolkit. I really got tired in China of trying to take a shower with a string going this way and a string going that way and one going that way. So I developed this little toolkit where I've got pliers in it that I used to take the shower head or stand on the shower and take the pin and clean it out. But now I take the shower head off with my wrench, take it down and clean it out, put it back up, and get a good shower. Now, here's another thing. There's different plugs around the world. And I've got the ultimate plug here. Anywhere that the Brits didn't settle, you have what's known as the Edison plug. But your grandmother had some of these things. So you can take the light out, unscrew it, and you plug it, you screw it into the light bulb. You have electricity there. It's very simple. Now, if the Brits settled it, they have the bayonet system. So it's one like this. You stick it in and turn it, but then it has the standard plugs on the outside. And just standard. And Russia's got a totally different system. So this is the system that works there. 2 wires that I push into the plug and a standard plug on the outside. I mean, this will work anywhere. A little scary sometimes, but it you never know when you here are the pliers. And the pliers I carry, screwdrivers, and you always need a good old Swiss army. So that's my little toolkit that I carry. And I carry also what I call my portable office. I've got everything from batteries to marking pens, sticky notes. That comes in quite handy. Also, good old correcting fluid. Then, because money around the world is all different sizes, it doesn't fit in your billfold. So I found a money clip is very handy to carry. Then you can keep your money in your pocket. Also, I like to put my money in my pocket and then turn the pocket a quarter turn, and then that makes it very difficult for people to get their hand in your pocket. And here's where I keep in contact with the world. Here's my shortwave radio. Very handy. It's amazing. I've heard on this before that there were riots in the U.S. and the troops came out and they put everybody in jail, and then they had another vote. So you never know what you might hear on shortwave radio, but it is good to know if what's happening in the country where you are and not necessarily listen to the radio. And for safety, I have my ever useful smoke alarm. Carry that, but most hotels in the developing world don't have smoke alarms in them, so it's nice to have that. Here's something very useful that you probably won't find in the U.S. This is a door lock for Russian trains. If you put this over the door and this goes into the pin, then they can't open it from the outside. So these are some of the things that I like to I take with me. That's my little pouch. Let me see here. Okay. On 9/11, I was coming back from Africa, and the pilot came on and said, "Notice we've turned around." No, I didn't. It was 10 o'clock in the morning or so. I was watching a movie, or I might have been asleep when I did it. He said we have a light on in the plane. We have to land in Gander, Newfoundland. They had it checked out. Well, we landed, and after we landed, he came on and said something far worse has happened. There's been a terrorist attack in the U.S., and we're here for a while, probably 15 to 30 minutes. Well, 28 hours later, we got off the plane and got sent to a little town of Lewisport. And the people in Lewisport were the most giving people I've ever seen. I used to tell, well, in Texas we have Aggie jokes. We have Newfie jokes. I'm sure you've heard Newfie jokes. I don't tell Newfie jokes anymore because those are the most wonderful people in the world. So when we got back on the plane, I mean, they brought to where we were staying churches and Lions Club. They just brought piles of blankets and sheets and clothes and toiletries, just huge piles. The stores opened up and said, this little town says, take anything you need. They put a lady in the hospital who was pregnant. She wasn't having problems, but they wanted to watch her. Doctors came and filled all prescriptions. Drugstores gave us the medicines free of charge. So when we got back on the plane, one of the passengers said, we need to do something for these people. Let's give them a scholarship. There's something like 40% unemployment in the town. And so she passed around a piece of paper, and we all wrote pledges on it. And I think we collected about $15,000 in pledges. In the end, every pledge was met by one. Because, you know, in the heat of things, people will do something and then forget about it. But everybody gave pledges. We formed a fund, and with that $15,000 in money that's been given through the years, our fund now is worth $1.5 million. And each year, we give every student in Lewisport. They started out, we were going to give the top student. We said, no, we're going to spread it. So every student that has an 85% or better grade point average gets enough money to go to further education for the year. Whether it's cosmetology school, whether it's criminal justice school, whether it's engineering school, medical school, any additional schooling, they get a scholarship. And we give them, what I say, I think about 184 scholarships now. And after we left, the English teacher that was really everybody's friend in the school wrote this song, which really captures the essence of it. Bear in mind, in the song, he sings all the parts and plays all the instruments. He just kept re-recording it over and over and over again. So let's see if we can play this. And, come on, guys.
Transfixed by all the horror and the grief, staring at the television in shock and disbelief. In Gander and Wells airplanes lie waiting on the ground. Over 700 passengers arrive in my small town. Churches, schools, and service clubs that suddenly transform.
policemen
all
moved into
around the
town.
world.
That's the little town.
Everyone just open up their doors and open up their heart. A miracle began. Visitors were so amazed. They just couldn't believe
Baby Moose.
how well they were received. Yeah. It's just the way we are around here. Some have found it hard to understand. Down and out and all around. We'll lend a hand. Anything we can, yeah.
There's always saying, we'll take in anybody, and then we'll decide if they're honest or not. That's the spirit is coming through the song.
Oh, just come on in. Now you've got a friend.
It's got a red coat on
Just
it,
the
I don't
way
know.
we Wednesday afternoon, got a call
That's the
from
lady that got on the microphone on the plane.
said, come on down to the Brooklyn Lounge and play your songs again. And that night we drank our toast to all those folks who far away. From Italy and Ireland, all across the USA. My new friend from Germany sang the House of the Rising Sun. A young songwriter from Ukraine played two of his new songs. Though I didn't understand the words
This is a couple that picked us up, and we didn't have to sleep on the floor. Stella said, you're coming to my house and spending the night. And there's only 4 kids between them, and Stella has all 4.
Allison got up and sang her songs for Ireland. Swear to God I heard an angel's voice. Later on we passed the guitar around, sang songs into the night. We raised our glasses high, yeah. It's just the way we are around here. Some have found it hard to understand. Down and out and all alone. We'll lend a hand. Anything we can, yeah. Doesn't
Those people are wonderful people, and they're really people against the elements, not people against people. So, any questions? Yes?
What's your favorite country that you've been to out of all?
Oh, that's hard to say. I'd say New Zealand, but I just got back from Antarctica, and that's not a country, that's a continent. But that makes all 7 continents I've been to. But seeing the penguins and the seals and it's just fantastic. But New Zealand is fun too. I like Australia. So, each country is a little different, whether you look for beauty or look for people. Or Germany is wonderful during Oktoberfest.
What position did you enjoy the most, and what company was the best to work for?
The best company to work for? Gee, that's a hard question to answer. You know, I certainly enjoyed my counter trade traveling great. And people always ask me, well, how can I be a counter trader? And I say, well, go out and travel the world, go to hotels, meet people in the lobbies, meet people sitting next to you, and come back in 20 years, remember all those people, and then you're helpful. I mean, it's amazing. Last year I was in Alaska. We got stopped because of road construction, and there's a big truck behind us. So I go talk to the truck driver. He had a huge boat on it. And I said, where are you from? He said, oh, back east. I said, how far back east? Well, I'm from Newfoundland. Oh, what? Do you know Lewisport? He says, yeah. I lived just right outside of Lewisport. I said, well, do you know Stella and Gerald White? He says, my best friend is married to their daughter. You know, and here I am in the Northwest Territories, so it's amazing. Another case, when I was in school, I studied with a guy from Lebanon, And we wrote letters for a while, and then we just kind of put it apart. Well, I was in Egypt 40 years later, and I wondered what happened to Eddie Mighty. So there was a guy there that worked for an oil company, and the last job Eddie had was in an oil company. So I went up, I wrote him a letter. Remember me? We studied together at BS Mechanical Engineering in 1964. Folded the letter up and said, please contact me. And I put on the outside of the letter, please give this to somebody you think might know him, and put a mark on the outside of the envelope. And when he got it, it had 2 marks on it. You know, that's halfway around the world. So it's interesting to meet people, keep your connections up, keep networking, send them Christmas cards, tell them what you're doing, because that's what really helps. The networking, it's amazing how it helps, but you have to feed it all the time.
Thank you so much.
Mhm.
We appreciate you
Sure.
coming.